The marriage rate is like 25%.
You mean
Especially
successful marriage
successful marriage
rate?
rate is like 25%. Consider like people like my parents, they're not promised to be here for much longer. And guess what? Once those boomers pass on and go meet Jesus, guess what? The marriage rates are going to tank. And I'm only saying that just to say this. How can I then minister to a people? How can I minister to men about divorce and I've never been through it? Like, and you have to take into consideration, and I get what you're thinking, right? Because I'm with you. But guess what? We are serving a generation that's a show me generation. Don't tell me how to buy a house and you don't own one. Don't tell me how to bake a cake and you don't know how to make one. Let me see you bake a cake successfully before you can show me how to bake a cake. That's the generation that we live in.
I agree.
We live in a generation where they're like, Steve Harvey been divorced I don't know how many times. What he gonna tell me about being married? You know, what he gonna tell me about a relationship?
See, that's the thing. That's the thing.
And
you're gonna always be judged by the way you live your life or what's happened, your experience.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guilty of it. When me and my fiance came down to who was going to counsel us in marriage, give us marital counseling before our wedding in 67 days now, we looked at several pastors. I know plenty of pastors that are well capable of marital counseling us. And we still gonna circle back even when we get married. Because I'm a true advocate for counseling. I do mental health counseling every Tuesday at 6:00. Every Tuesday. And I told my counselor I ain't trying to stop no time soon. Because it's just good to have somebody neutral to talk to that helps you navigate through certain things that may happen to you or may have happened to you even in your past that you didn't even really realize that affected you the way it affected you. But we looked at the length of time that each pastor that we were considering had been married, and we chose the one with the longest length of time only because of the experience. Now, like I said, we are going to circle back. And we've already talked about that or whatever. But going into, we needed as much wisdom as possible. And it's been good. We're on session 3. This week it's going to be session 3. And it's been great. It's been helpful or whatever. So we're judged by the things that we've gone through. But on the flip side of that, God will put in you. If God sends somebody to you, that means that you have in you what you need to minister to that person, regardless of what is happening into your life. Because it's like Bishop Briana just said, they're drawn to the bloom of your flower, the fragrance of your flower. They're drawn to it.
Mm.
Yeah. You wonder why bees go to certain flowers. There's plenty of leaves and trees and flowers out there. I've never seen a bee hovering over a rose. But I've seen bees hover over what's those flowers?
Sunflowers.
Yeah, I've seen them hover over sunflowers. Because that sunflower is what draws that particular insect to them. So we all have in us, God is so strategic in everything that he does. He's so strategic and so intentional in everything that he does. So if he sends somebody to you with the question, even if it's a question that you've never heard before, if you think about it and you begin to speak to them, I guarantee you God will start. Because, man, married men have come to me for advice, and I ain't never been married. But the advice that I gave them helped them.
But and I will say, I do believe that there is a sect of people that just they need you to have been through it.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are some people that just like, you can't help me unless you've been through it. And and again, I don't necessarily subscribe to that thought process, because even Porter said, he said, then how can you minister about successful marriage if you're divorced? And he said, this is the logic of your statement. And again, I don't necessarily subscribe to. I believe that there's a lot of people that, matter of fact, I was checking out a divorce attorney. A divorce attorney said, a successful marriage, and this is the divorce attorney, because he said a successful marriage is a marriage anything over about 10 years. Even if you divorce after the 10 years, it's successful if you're married for 10 years.
And then I've heard if you make it past that 5-year mark.
7.
Now it's 7?
7. It's been 7. Yeah, you get that 7-year itch. And I was married for 16 years. And again, I still don't subscribe to the idea that you can't advise someone about divorce and or marriage. You for instance, my parents have been married for 50 years. Are there some things about divorce that they may not know about? Absolutely, because they've never experienced it, right? But that doesn't mean that they can't give good, sound advice. There are some things that I know about divorce that my parents probably don't know and never have had to experience, just because I went through a divorce. And it very well may not be the association between, say, the mother and the children, right?